Man, the old school players that was a crazy arc. You know, the thing is that I feel like people want to just cling to the idea that like there's no way that the players of the past couldn't be better than the players of like modern days. But the thing is in this day and age, right? Like new players have so many more resources that it's so easy to find videos about how to learn stuff. It's so much easier to like there's more people to play with. The average skill level is much higher. Like there's so many things that help new players learn, right? And improve faster than ever before. Like for how long it took you, think about it, like anybody in the chat who has played a lot of fighting games, for how long it took you to learn a skill or figure out something or anything like that, there will be a faster learning curve for any new player to pick that up, just because there's so many more resources and so many more people that are knowledgeable. Like when I first got into fighting games, I remember asking questions like, hey, what do you think about like, I don't know, this? How do you describe that? And like the players were like, I don't know, dude, I just hit him. Like they like people's explanations of things, like there was nobody who had like the ability to explain things or use like terminology or explain terminology. Like you just had to figure it out by yourself, right? So that's why I partially started making tutorials and doing analysis videos. It's because nobody else is doing it. So if you don't know anything, it's impossible to learn without just putting in the effort yourself. I'll never forget, like there's like some move in Street Fighter 4 and I asked somebody about it. I was like, hey, what is this move on block? Right? How do you deal with this move? And I remember them just saying like, well, I play like insert X character here. So with my character, I just do this. But I don't actually know what it is on block or anything. I just do this with my character. Like I have no idea how to deal with it with any other character. I was like, well, what if you're playing like Ryu and you have to deal with this move? He's like, I don't know. Like he's like, I don't know. Like he couldn't even explain like a way to deal with a move unless you were specifically playing his character. Like didn't understand like the frame data or how to play around it or like a solution to it. It was just like, yeah, I don't know. My character, I just do this and it works. What's interesting is if you think about the players who have had success in Street Fighter V, especially young players, not all of them are super tech heavy players either. I sort of characterize a lot of young players as like being much more interested in learning tech and being much more interested in like optimizing setups and being way more optimal a lot of the times, right? Like they're usually that's what I think about. Old school players I usually think about as like more like footsie heavy, right? Like you described, like more footsie heavy or like just have really good reads or like play like a very simple play style, but like kind of the effective play style. Most of the young players, when I characterize them, they're like the opposite. They're like much more setup heavy, much more tech heavy. Like they play in a very different play style than that. But the interesting thing is that in Street Fighter V, like the players that have had a lot of success, if you think about young players, like NuckleDu is a very feel-based young player compared to a lot of the other players. And then Punk, who's like what I kind of characterize as like more technical, he's like super, like his ground game is crazy. Ground games and reaction and hit confirm is crazy, right? So he is more of like the modern player that I think about that's like more technical, more like studies the game, knows every character, knows every situation. And then there's like NuckleDu, which is the opposite side of young players, who just like play very by feel. Then you have like Menna, who won Capcom Cup last year, who's a mixture of playing by feel and really understanding the game. Like when he talked about how like he was playing for Guile and he's like, yeah, I'm training against Guile like 7 hours a day, right? Or whatever, or like 4 hours a day out of like the 8 hours I'm playing or whatever. Like I'm really studying for this matchup. I'm thinking about it a lot. And like you can tell like his studying worked in that sense, right? Which I think is a little different than what you characterize older players as, which is like more of just like they have the talent from built-in years and years and years and years of playing and stuff like that. I was telling the Melee players, I was like, you know, the thing about Netplay is that now that Netplay exists in like 4 or 5 years, like after Netplay is created, within 2 to 3 years, you'll have people that are net play monsters. Like they don't go to your locals who will be top players. Like that's just how net play is. Like once it exists, people will figure it out, right? Like they'll just be people that play online all day and they're just monsters. Like they just play online all day. They grind. They know how to handle, like they know every matchup because they play online. Their execution's really fucking good. They're just like super knowledgeable and they'll be really clean about everything. They won't let you get away with shit. So I was like, when Netplay came out from Melee, I was like, just wait. In like a couple of years, there'll be online warriors who you guys just can't beat. They would just be really fucking good. It's like that for every single game, right? People, look at this guy in the chat. Learning matchups online, fucking LOL and shit. Almost all the successful players play a lot of Netplay, right? A lot of the young successful players play a lot of Netplay. I know that you're Ultra Bronze and you can't figure it out, but I'm telling you. Net playing is the best way to learn how to deal with all these different characters. It sucks. The connection may be ass, right? the connection may suck, but it's the fastest way to get a diverse amount of characters and playstyles just like pumped into your veins, right? The thing about KI is that it's fucking crazy because the game was out in 2013. I remember in 2013 playing West Coast to East Coast matches in Killer Instinct, and the connection was great. Like, I live in Southern California. You know who I was playing with in KI before, like, all the tournaments I was playing for? I was playing with Rico Suave from New York. We were playing, like, the exact opposite sides. I guess this for you guys. Exact opposite sides of the country. And that was the person I was playing with online for, like, matchups and shit. I was like, yeah, I'll just play Rico real quick. What up, man? So we would play online. Connection's amazing. 2013, right? Like, it's not like creating good netcode is like, yeah. Guilty Gear Online fucking sucks, by the way. It's awful. I tried to play online the other day, and I joined a West Coast lobby. And I was playing with like 5-frame or 6-frame players and shit. I'm like, you can't play in this connection unless you are just born and raised in. I can't deal with 5 or 6 frames because I only play Guilty Gear offline. I almost never net play it, right? But anytime I do try to net play it, I'm just like, I can't do it in 5 or 6 frames. I'm like, how do people play in this shit? And there's people just doing all their B&Bs, move. I can't even move in 5 to 6 frames. It feels so bad, right? Dude, Deb is a monster. When I watch Deb stream, I'm convinced he's a robot. There's no way. He plays on 8 frames and hits everything. Like, it's completely normal. I don't know. He's a beast. I don't know how he does it. But when I play Guilty Gear Online, I got online and there was, first of all, 2 lobbies, right? There's 3 lobbies, sorry. East Coast, NA, which obviously I'm not going to play in. Australia, and Japan. So I was like, all right, well, like, this is unfortunate. So I just didn't play that day because there was no lobby that I was going to be able to play in, right? So I come back the next day and there's like a West Coast lobby. There's like a Texas lobby, and then there's like SoCal lobby. The SoCal lobby, like, I ran into some rough connections in there, right? The Texas lobby is unplayable, and I'm just like, oh my God. It's PC? It's like my connection is fine. I don't understand. My connection is good. All these connections so hard to play in. It's like 5, 6 frames every match. I'm like, Jesus. I get one match that's like 2 frames, and I'm like, thank God. I found a 2-frame match on Netplay, right? And then just like halfway through the match, it's like 4 frames, 2 frames, 3 frames, 5 frames, 2 frames. I'm like, oh my God. How do you even play on Wi-Fi on PC? I don't understand. Like, how do you even do that in the modern era? That, to be fair, I shouldn't say Guilty Gear is a big issue with people playing Wi-Fi. I think Dragon Ball has a much bigger issue with people playing Wi-Fi. I've never played a fighting game that has more people playing on Wi-Fi in my life. It's not even close. Dragon Ball is so bad.